We are live. Hi, folks. Welcome to the first broadcast, hopefully not the last, of Film Music Live. Um, we're a little primitive, so you got to bear with us. You're here to chat with John, so please ask any questions. We have as our first guest John Debney, who is an award-winning film composer. He received an Academy Award nomination for Passion of the Christ. He recently scored Iron Man 2, and he has coming out next month Predators, and that marks his fifth or sixth collaboration now with Robert Rodriguez, who's producing Predators. And for Iron Man 2, it marked John's third collaboration with director Jon Favreau. And well, I want to thank John, and John, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Ray, and all you guys out there in the world of ether. I guess this is an ether kind of interview, right, Ray?
Yeah.
We're breaking new ground.
We are.
This is really.
You're a pioneer. John.
It's amazing, really.
So.
Wow.
And I want to welcome our producer Aline over here. So
Aline,
say hi, Aline. So we are broadcasting live from the Debney Lair, from John Debney's studio in Burbank, directly across from Warner Brothers.
Herbal tea, not vodka. Anyway, great to have you here with us today, Ray and Aline, and great to be with you guys and anybody that's looking in. Great to talk to you today.
Well, we're going to go to the fan questions, but first, let me ask you some of the press has already asked us. Christine Blanc from Interactivities in France wanted to ask you a question of, does IMAX change something? Did it change anything on Iron Man 2 concerning the soundtrack or the score sound? When you do a film that's now in IMAX,
right,
in an IMAX theater, does that affect how you create the score?
Well, the IMAX experience is a little bit different. I don't treat the score any differently. In other words, we don't, consciously change anything. However, the IMAX dub, the IMAX mix is different. It is a bit different. When we are finished dubbing a picture, we send all the material up to the IMAX studios, and I think they're in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And then the IMAX crew does sort of their own mix of everything. So in a way, it's sort of taken out of our hands, and we let them do what they do so well, and they have to sort of recreate the mix, and they have their own inherent challenges in terms of what they have to do with the mix. So they do change it a bit. So when I go see an IMAX version of a film I've worked on, it is many times different, a little bit different here and there. I won't say greatly, but it does change a little bit.
Okay. Now, if you're a fan and you're tuning in now, please add your question. It's very simple. You just go to the little box in the corner and ask a question, and we will ask John. So, in the meantime, let's look at some of these other ones. Paul Stevens from Score Magazine, Stebelsman from Score Magazine, wanted to know, what was the challenge for you in scoring this Predators? What was one of the challenges, or some of the challenges?
Well, that's a great question, because the filmmakers and I spoke very long and hard about the best way to approach this score, and whether it was going to be a wholly new original score, or if we wanted to harken back to Alan Silvestri's great score from the first film and the second film. And we really chose as a group the latter, and that was to utilize some of the classic, iconic Predator music in this film, because it's a true reboot of the original. It's not fans will notice it's not the same film, it's not the same story, but I wanted to embrace that wonderful score of Alan's and utilize it in the score. And luckily, the director, Nimrod Antal, and the producer, Robert Rodriguez, were very, very supportive of that. And they wanted, they gave me a green light, basically. And Fox gave me a green light, too, because Fox, obviously, this is one of their iconic properties, so they wanted to, also harken back to the original film, and I think in a really good way. So I think that fans will hopefully love the fact that you're going to hear a brand new score, but it's going to also incorporate some of Alan's great music, and sometimes it's reimagined, sometimes I've extrapolated from it. So hopefully everybody will like it. Hopefully you'll like it.
So one of the fans wanted to know, were you a fan of the Predator series before you started working on it?
Huge fan, right? Honestly, I always tell people there are three films in my, sort of head that have always stood the test of time and always sort of spoken to me in terms of the genre. The sci-fi horror thriller genre. Predator being one, The First Planet of the Apes being another, and what was the third one? I can't remember.
Was it Star Wars? Or?
No, it wasn't Star Wars. I was talking about the other day. It'll come back to me. But it was those three. Star Trek. I'm sorry. The original Star Trek, meaning the series and the first couple of films. Jerry Goldsmith, the first one being the one that jumps to mind. So those three have always stood out in my mind as my favorite movies of the genre. And when therefore I was given this chance, I jumped at it. And I was very, very excited. I sort of approached it like a fanboy would, because I'm a fanboy. I'm a fan geek.
So, as a fan geek, then,
I like this angle better. This is fun. This is very casual.
Okay. Okay. So as a fan, as a sci-fi fan, you like Star Trek. What are some of your other favorite shows or movies in that genre?
Well, of course, Star Trek. I sort of start with Star Trek. Being a kid, I remember the first episode of Star Trek, and it was a thrill, and then that sort of got me into really the whole sci-fi thing, and that interested me, and then grew up. I had a great love for that. I started reading a lot of sci-fi, and then of course Star Wars, I think '77 maybe. Then Aliens, Alien movies, all of them. Those are the ones that sort of stand out to me. That Star Wars, Star Trek, Aliens, Predator. Those are the sort of the key ones for the time.
So, your background started pretty much in television. You started. How did you make the transition? Let's talk about as a TV composer. You received Emmys for now I can't think of it. It's a sci-fi series.
Sci-fi series Sequest.
Sequest.
Those of you out there that might remember that as kids, that was sort of a big, Steven Spielberg produced sci-fi show. It was really quite good at the time. Young Writers, I received the Emmy for that, and also I think I received the Emmy for something called The Creek, which was a story, a show about astronauts and NASA. And it was really wonderful. Short, live, but wonderful.
So you came from kind of a Hollywood lineage. Your father was a producer at Disney, and
he was.
And your early career, someone has asked the question. You were an actor in your
that is so embarrassing.
So
I was an actor.
Tell us about that information.
Well, you know what? That's a great question. I've never had that question actually.
And in a Disney film.
Well, in a Disney film, and one of the perks of being a child of someone that works at a studio is that maybe they can get you into these movies. And so I did my part, and I was in a couple of movies. I was in a movie called Follow Me Boys with Kurt Russell. In fact, Kurt would remember this, I'm sure.
Follow Me Boys would be a title of a movie today.
Follow Me Boys, Fred McMurray. No, it wouldn't, actually. You're right.